Hello YouTube, Andy Cam Reacts here with the final part of my of this round of non-musical content for Stray Kids specifically. This one is IN's version of a list of recommended videos for each member. It's called Yang Jeongin, which is his real name. The most spoiled Maknae in K-pop. Is that true? I think probably the person I know least about is IN. So I'm looking forward to this, learning a little bit more about him and the group's dynamics with him.
All excited for the video, but before we start, let me thank the sponsor of this video, Fashion Chingu. Have you ever looked at an idol and thought,
Sorry,
that's a cool shirt. I'd love to have
this is
that,
not my
but
sponsor, but I will let it. I'm trying to get my audio correct.
And let me tell you, Fashion Chingu is that you need.
Yeah,
Fashion Chingu is an online store that recreates K-pop
Fashion
and
Chingu, fashion friend.
so you can look cute without spending all your money. They offer a variety of what this jacket Ann is wearing. Oh, add the link in the video.
글로벌 차트를 점령한 스트레이 키즈는 그들만의 강렬한 콘셉트와
올해 아티스트 다섯 번째 주인공은 스트레이.
Baby, I'm not even here.
제 매년 수상할 뿐 아니라 올해는 앨범 판매가
That was great. Really loud. Got the bodyguards here. Ian always gets to pick up the trophy.
야 건배사는 막내가 해봐라. 막내야 일어서서. 다들 고생 많았고 맛있게 먹어보자. 서비스 뭐예요? 어떤 거요? 자 저희 이은이 큰 형님부터 한번 한입 드리소.
That's cute. Why isn't the volume so varied again? Ugh.
아이고 감사합니다. 먹어보. 우리도 먹자.
익었어. 확인 안 해봤는데.
It's adorable.
멍스 좀 해보려고요. This my computer. 뭐 하는 짓이야? 이게 뭐 하는 짓이야? 비해봐요. 어때? 맛있어? 안 잘려.
그럼 맛있겠냐? 어? 너가 만들었는데?
왜 살아요?
내 얼굴 상태를 좀 봐야겠어. 조금만 덜 잘생겼어야 되겠어. 조금만 덜 잘생겼다.
그밖에 안 했어. 오, 임포스터. 어떡하지? 아, 형 저 좀 도와주세요. 갖다 드릴게요. 제가.
감사합니다.
자, 우리 막내부터. 오, 갈 뻔했네.
약간 그냥 잘하고 싶다 이거였는데 요즘에는 나는 진짜 우리 팀에서 꼭 필요한 음색이 되고 싶어.
이미 그게 되고 싶은 게 아니야. 이미 필요하지.
약간 소감이 어때요? 이엔이가 이마 찢어 놓으셨다. 와, 이마 찢어놨어? 양정희 선배님, 와, 이마를 뒤집어 놓으셨다. 야, 역시 무대 위에서 놀질 않아. 이엔이 선배님.
야 재밌어?
네.
얘가 재밌으면 됐어. 그래. 야 아들내미한테 머리도 감겨지고 아주 다 살았어.
제 아들입니다.
얘나 나도 너가 좋다고.
그래, 고맙다.
의상이 너무 이쁜 것 같아.
이상이 아니라 당신이 예쁜 거예요. 아니야, 잠깐만. 얘 나 줘봐. 내가 할게. 그냥 이렇게 하라고. 그래, 내가 할게. 아니, 제가 할게요. 끝났죠, 우리 얘기.
제발.
밥 먹고 가.
내 거야.
먹고 나서 형한테 구멍을 주고.
짝사랑을 당할 수 있구나. 진짜 난 사실 짝사랑을 당해본 적이 없어가지고 모르는 걸 수도 있어.
귀여워. 아유.
그래. 그래.
아유, 어떻게 이렇게 매듭도 이렇게 귀엽게. 잊을만 하면 귀여워.
그다.
그리고 나도 반대로 둘. 그리고 여덟.
Hi, Felix. I have lots of stuff I'm gonna say probably on the second playthrough, just absorbing it and watching it and laughing.
이게 SKZ의 실체입니다. 형들이 자꾸 제 엉덩이를 만져요. 엉덩이가 너무 이쁘다고. 이 형이요.
이해나 진짜 까.
Lovejoy. Beauty. Yes.
이것도 안길라고. 얘는 이유야. 피자 그 자체잖아.
나 이거 근데.
재밌어요? 얘니가 재밌으면 형은 됐어요.
괜찮은데? 나만 괜찮나?
얘니가 괜찮으면 됐어. 그래, 얘니가 즐거웠으면 됐어. 형이 머리가 무슨 소용이니?
맞아.
이 세상의 모든 것들을 다 내가 없애줄 수 있어. 대박, 바로 타노스처럼 손가락 하나 튕겨줄게.
얘는 땡땡하다.
귀염귀염하다. 착하다. 깜찍하다.
왜?
야 뱀띠.
할 말이 뭐야?
사랑해.
얘 혼자 심심해? 아니. 같이 있어줘? 아니.
아니. 촌. 양정인. 입니다.
없다고?
요즘에 아기빵 크림 터졌어. 유통기한 지났어. 짜장면 빨리 먹는 거. 얘니 이렇게 같이 있어서 너무 좋다.
장난을 많이 해요. 되게 뭔가 되게 스페셜한 것 같아요.
아니요.
공사에서 또 아메리카노 시켰어.
잘했어.
연씨 노른자 터뜨렸어요? 잘했어요.
이 얘니 아주 그냥 빵 만들기에 그거 있네.
얘니는 형한테 꼬지 마.
아 좋네.
이해다.
한 밤을. 그래.
얘 앉는 게 말한 맛이지. 하나만 더 안아줘. 수많은 밤을. 아 좋다. 간다. 아 구수해. 얘 여기 있는가.
At least his parents knew that at that age, away from them, Ian was good with good people.
보이나?
그냥 귀여워 죽겠네. 어떡하냐.
나는 너의 그 파트너가 되고 싶어.
아유 쪼글쪼글거리는 것 봐. 그냥 귀여워 죽겠네 그냥.
아기상어 뚜두두두두.
얘나 얼른 형들을 얼른 악담돼서 벗어나자. 형이 안아줄게.
싫어. 얘나 형이 너한테 관심 안 줘서 좋겠어? 와, 야 얘나 잘한다. 너무 얘나 잘한다.
그래.
형
보고 있다. 그래. 누가 우리 이해는 신경 쓰이게. 안돼. 귀여워. 귀여워. 감사합니다. 귀여워.
Oh. That's good. Hold on. Before the video plays again. So an interesting thing about cultures that are not American. Skinship, or like skinship between guys in America is, at least was, I don't know about nowadays, maybe it's different nowadays for the youth, but when it was my youth days, it was really hard to break the barrier of being able to touch your guy friends as a guy, beyond just like your handshake or the hand gesture stuff, that the high fives and the whatnots. Beyond that, it was really, you don't cross the boundary much unless you're really close with friends, of course. And sometimes even then, it's, you could put headlocks on people. Like when I was in school, especially in PE, the guys want to profess how strong they are, right? And I mentioned previously in other videos that for a middle schooler, I was pretty tall. I'm not very tall now because I didn't grow much after that, but I was also very in shape. So I was kind of like one of the more physically peaked at middle school guys than others. So it was easy to compete against other physically kind of strong guys. I wasn't as buff because I didn't work out that much. So I couldn't compare to like the strongest guys, but they definitely saw me as an adversary. So we would, wrestle, we would tackle, we would be competitive in sports. We would put each other in headlocks, try to suplex each other. Not really, but so that was camaraderie. But beyond that, like between friends that were not in physical education, it was really hard to kind of get through that boundary of don't touch me in America, at least. And I'm guessing it's my experience is my own, and it's very different. Like maybe my best friend from high school, other than handshakes and the occasional hug, like we never crossed that boundary of, we give each other space and such, right? But when I think about my Korean relationships, especially when I was the youngest amongst guys, they definitely gave me preferential treatment. They definitely looked after me more. They definitely laughed at me a little more. They found my antics funnier probably than others would have. So they kind of saw me like as a younger brother, and with a loving eye, even if those guys and I weren't that close. That there was instantly the Korean bond, and I'm trying to speak Korean with them, right? And I think they found that very fun as well. But there was a genuine like warmth from them, and even though I wasn't very close to them, they would put their arm around me and tickle me and like not in. Don't get your head out of the gutter if you think otherwise. It's a different kind of camaraderie, especially to the youngest member of your circle. And I found myself replicating that in college. So I had so I went back to college after making my first round through community college. I decided I don't know what I wanted to do, so I stopped after graduating with a 2-year degree, and then I decided to go back to school. from a mechanical engineering degree a few years later. So that made me, on average, older than my peers, my fellow students. And towards the end of my tenure, then I'm much older usually, right? And I would befriend a group of friends, and then they would, a lot of them were fresh out of high school, so there's like a good 5-6 year gap between me and them, and I kind of started treating them like my other sunbes, I guess you could call them, treated me, and it just came very naturally since I was exposed to it, and just the fact that it's pretty culturally normal in Korea to kind of do this preferential treatment to the youngest, but it didn't come naturally to everyone. I have to say that it had to come to someone that I liked. Right? It doesn't just, oh, you're the youngest, so hence you're gonna be this, right? It didn't work that way. I had to like them, and I went through this long tangent to say that I've been calling his name Ian. I'm gonna continue saying so until you guys tell me otherwise, because everyone in the group tends to call him Ian. Ian. But anyways, if I had to guess, Ian, I believe, is a very genuine guy. If I have to guess, I think he would be very likable, and that's why they treat him like that. The spoiled Maknae in K-pop is because he's so likable. Is my thought. Being likable is definitely a blessing to be able to be liked. I was told in the past several times that I am a very likable person, and that's why I don't have to come across too many conflicts. Although I have gone through my share of few, but in general, like if like at the workplace, I don't have to go through too much conflict, and I think just being a likable person has to be a part of it. And I think Ian probably is a very likable person, and very and that's why they could see him as such a cute Maknae. Sorry for the long tangent. Let's go back and watch this again. I just wanted to. That was one of the thought processes I had while watching this. So I'm gonna go back and watch again and kind of pick it apart.
Are we all excited for the video? But before we start,
sorry, I'm gonna skip the introduction.
For affordable.
There you go.
그들만의 강렬한 콘셉트와
올해 아티스트 5번째 주인공은 스트레이키즈.
Maybe I'm not even here.
매년 수상할 뿐 아니라
I love it. Actually, Ian looked good doing it too. Everyone's kind of goofing off with their pose, and then he's like, all right, let's get going. And everyone's like, all right, let's do it. And there's Felix. And then Han Chi-sung. Mr. Unfair. And hi, Felix. And I love how Pang Chan's like making sure he grabs it. He's like, good job, buddy.
야, 건배사는
We're talking about Hyunjin's hair here. What the heck? It's like the softest looking hair.
막내가 해봐라. 막내야!
일어서서 다들 고생 많았고 맛있게 먹어.
Can you look? I love.
막내가 해봐라. 막내야!
일어서서 다들 고생 많았고.
Can you listen to that voice and think it was the Maknae saying that? 다들 고생 많았고.
맛있게 먹어보자.
맛있게 먹어보자. So he's speaking with a dialect there, by the way. In Korea, it's customary for the oldest person at the table to eat first. Yes. In the grand scheme of things, yes, very true. It's actually the most senior person. Usually, doesn't have to be the oldest, but it's the most senior person. If there is no senior, then it kind of defaults to oldest. For example, if we're sitting down with my parents and myself and my siblings, you're supposed to wait for your dad. That's just how it works. If dad's not going to be there today, you're supposed to wait for your mom, although mom's usually cooking. So at that point, it's kind of free for all for the siblings. But if you're having like a big family get together, definitely you wait until the grandparent, if your grandparents are still around, your grandparents should be sat down and have food on their plate, and they should be eating, and then everyone else. So yeah, it's that this is customarily true.
좋아요. 어떤 거요? 자, 저희 이은이 큰 형님부터 한번 한입 주이소.
There, Pangchan is saying
자,
here,
저희 이은이 큰 형님부터 한번
큰 형님. So that's actually misnomer, mistranslation.
자, 저희 이은이 큰 형님부터 한번
So Ian, 큰 형님부터 큰 형님. 큰 is big, 형님 is 형님. So oldest, the biggest or oldest 형님. Is supposed to 형님 is like the more formal way of saying someone, referring to someone that's older than you. Like my brother-in-law is my 형님. So it's a little different in this characteristic, but they fulfill the same kind of purpose.
한입 주이소.
And 한입 주이소 is a obviously not if you're not so sure, I should say, because it's not obvious maybe. Pangchan is speaking with an accent. 한입 주이소 is please have a bite first, or please have a bite.
아이고 감사합니다. 먹어보.
It's actually also customary to, if food is coming out piecemeal, not everyone, if the food's all not ready, right? It's coming out piecemeal. It's very common to give it to the youngest, like in a family, right? If you're at a restaurant and food isn't coming out at the same time, usually someone is taking care of the youngest to make sure they have the food so they could eat.
익었어. 확인 안 해봤는데.
And then being savage. Hyunjin's got a very affectionate kind of personality, I think. He kind of gives that vibe to me. And it's obviously doesn't have this, it may not necessarily be true, but I get the feeling that he is he likes to skinship. He likes to be touchy-feely to certain members, and Ian seems to be one of them.
몽어스 좀 해보려고요. This is my computer. 뭐 하는 짓이야? 이게 뭐 하는 짓이야? 뒤에 뭐야?
어때 맛있어?
안 잘려.
그럼 맛있겠냐? 어? 너가 만들었는데?
왜 살아요?
너가
I
만들었는데?
just want to hear that again.
왜 살아요?
Wait, is Lino's delivery and tone is on another level.
얼굴 상태를 좀 봐야겠어. 조금만 덜 잘생겼어야 되겠어. 조금만 덜 잘생겼다. 그밖에 안 했어. 오, 임포스터. 어떡하지? 아, 형 저 좀 도와주세요.
He's got a, maybe it's the filter here, I'm not sure. He just looks really young. This is obviously a few years ago.
갖다 드릴게요 제가.
감사합니다.
자, 우리 막내부터.
Why do I find that so funny? It's Lino, that's why.
우리 막내부터. 오, 갈 뻔했네.
Han's reaction is hilarious.
갖다 드릴게요. 제가.
네, 감사합니다.
자, 우리 막내부터. 오, 갈 뻔했네.
약간 그냥 잘하고 싶다 이거였는데 요즘에는 나는 진짜 우리 팀에서 꼭 필요한 음색이 되고 싶어.
이미 그게 되고 싶은 게 아니야. 이미 필요하지.
약간 소감이 어때요? 이엔이가 이마 찢어 놓으셨다. 와, 이마 찢어놨어요? 양정인 선배님, 와, 이마를 뒤집어 놓으셨다. 야, 역시 무대 위에서 놀 줄 아네. 이엔 선배님.
야 재밌어? 얘가 재밌으면 됐어. 그래. 야 아들내미한테 머리도 감겨지고 아주 다 살았어.
제 아들입니다.
이엔아, 나도 너가 좋다고.
그래 고맙다.
의상이 너무 예쁜 것 같아. 의상이 아니라 당신이 예쁜 거예요.
아야 잠깐만.
But the funny part is, like, I feel like Ian, no matter how much he hears it, he kind of blushes every time. He's embarrassed.
아야 잠깐만. 얘너 봐. 내가 할게.
It's like parents trying to being overprotective of their child, trying to cut things for the first time with a knife.
그래 줘 내가 할게. 아니 제가 할게요. 눈 다쳐요 우리 얘니.
Which actually is kind of counterproductive, right? I feel like people need to learn how to do such things. Cut stuff, for example. Taking over because they're afraid you'll get hurt is kind of like, it only delays their abilities to develop that skill. I'm not the fastest cutter. I'm not a very good cook, but it was not long before I realized how you're supposed to hold a knife to be stable, and at least how to hold what you're cutting properly while cutting. But if it was, someone else was always next to me saying, "You better not let me do that knife work," I wouldn't have been able to learn how to do that.
짝사랑을 당할 수 있구나. 진짜 난 사실 짝사랑을 당해본 적이 없어가지고 모르는 걸 수도 있어.
There is a culture of Koreans being rough to the younger ones as well. It's out of love, like brotherly love. Can we talk about Ian's like pectoral line?
아유. 그래.
아유 어떻게 이렇게 매듭도 이렇게 귀엽게
잊을만 하면 귀여워. 그니까.
That smile. Hi, Felix again.
번쩍번쩍하네.
하지만 내 얼굴이 제일 빛나지? 이게 SKZ의 실체입니다.
그리고 Ian 반응이 좋아. His reactions to 반응 is reaction to all the antics, so to speak, is hilarious or fun or cute or whatever, right? It just makes him want to do it even more, I feel like.
형들이 자꾸 제 엉덩이를 만져. 엉덩이가 너무 이쁘다고. 이 형이요.
And I do it again.
얘나 진짜 까.
Lovejoy. Beauty. Yes. Yes.
너한테 안길라고. 이엔이 이리 와. 피자 그 자체잖아.
나 이거.
Like, what did it say?
피자 그 자체잖아.
Jisung always tries to kiss them.
나 이거 근데.
재밌어요? 얘니가 재밌으면 형은 됐어요.
괜찮은데? 나만 괜찮나?
얘니가 괜찮으면 됐어. 그래. 얘니가 즐거웠으면 됐어. 형이 머리가 무슨 소용이니?
맞아.
Yeah, as long as you had a good time, that's totally fine. I mean, what important? How important could hair be?
이 세상의 모든 것들을 다 내가 없애줄 수 있어.
It's almost like they have a little brother that they care that deeply about.
대박 봐라 타노스처럼 손가락 하나 튕겨줄게.
예인이는 땡땡하다.
귀염귀염하다. 착하다. 깜찍하다.
왜?
야 뱀띠.
할 말이 뭐야?
사랑해.
예인이 혼자 심심해? 아니 같이 있어줘? 아니?
아니? 양정인 입니다.
없다고?
요즘에 아기빵 크림 터졌어. 유통기한 지났어.
What's hilarious, they're not very far apart in age, right? There's like 4 years apart at most or something between like Bangchan and I should double check before I start spouting nonsense. Stray Kids profile. It's my go-to kprofiles.com. So Bangchan is 97 and Ian, or Ian as they keep calling him, is 01. So they're 4 years apart. And him and Felix are 1 year apart. Hyunjin and Han, 1 year apart. 1 year apart. Interesting, right? They're only 1 year apart and they treat him so differently. I'm not sure what other cultures do that.
장난을 많이 해요. 되게 뭔가 되게 스페셜한 것 같아요.
아니요.
By the way, I have to elaborate. There's only the concept of the Maknae when there's many people in a group of some kind, right? Whether it's a class room and the students inside, or a subdivision of a team in a group, or a team. Let's just say a team in a company or on a sports team or whatever. There's always a youngest member, right? So that's when the Maknae, the 행동, I'm trying to speak Korean and English, when the Maknae treatment comes into play. But if you're just amongst casual friends or something, like you're not that close, you know that person's probably is the youngest, but you definitely don't treat them this way unless you develop some kind of group first and then the bond. Usually. But if it's between two people that are close enough, the older person will give the younger person like professional. They'll buy them coffee when they go out together at a cafe more often, or food, right, or something, right? They'll do something to take care of them a little more than, let's say, the younger to the older, and it's kind of expected for that younger person when they're the older person to reciprocate the same thing. So it's like a cycle, right? Unless you're for some reason always in a situation where you're the youngest, and that's kind of weird. And that's why Koreans, when you find out someone is the same age as you, 동갑 친구, you instantly become, for me at least, personally, whenever I've met someone that's the same age as me, which for some reason is harder to do than I expected, someone that's the same age as me and Korean, there's an instant like, oh, friend, you're a friend type of feel. It's different. It's very different. And you do have a kickstart to become friends with this person if you're the same age. It's very uniquely Korean, I feel like. I'm pretty sure maybe there's other cultures that have something similar, but the age emphasis is I know Japan has some of this, but I'm not sure how deep the dynamic goes. Is why I can't speak for Japanese culture. And I can't speak for Chinese or any other Asian cultures really. I can only really speak for Korean culture. But I feel like Korean culture is very uniquely, even compared against the other Asian cultures, that instant, you're the same age as me, same born in the same year as me. We are friends, friend. And you have a very good chance of becoming really good friends with this person just because of the fact that you guys are the same age. Anyways.
공차에서 또 아메리카노 시켰어. 잘했어.
연씨 노른자 터뜨렸어요? 잘했어요. 이현이 아주 그냥 빵 만들기에 그거 있네.
이혜인이는 형한테 초코 좋아.
아, 싫어.
아 좋네.
이해다! 한 반만. 그래.
By the way, you would never. I take that back. It is very rare, especially in American high school, for example, or college or whatever, to see guys, friends, guy friends, attempt to kiss each other. Maybe it's different nowadays. I say that cautiously now because I am fairly many generations removed from being myself a high schooler, right? Or college or middle schooler or whatever. But it definitely was less common or not common at all or not existent when I was a student. Or when I was younger. I should just say not even a student, just younger. But it's always existed in Korea and it's always been accepted, widely accepted. No problem.
앉는 게 말한 맛이지. 하나만 더 안아줘. 수많은 밤을. 아 좋다. 간다. 아 구수하다. 구수하다. 예 여기 있는다.
겸손하고. 예. 아 예. 아 예 맞아요.
His parents have an accent, so he's definitely got like a Saturi-ness to him, I'm pretty sure.
나는 너의 그 파트너가 되고 싶어.
어우 쪼글쪼글거리는 것 봐. 그냥 귀엽겠네 그냥.
아 이상어 뚜두두두두.
얘나 오늘 형들을 오늘 앞담대에서 벗어나자. 형이 안아줄게. 싫어. 싫어. 얘나 알고 너도 관심 안 줘서 좋겠어? 야 얘나 잘한다. 너무 얘나 잘한다. 그래. 형 보고 있다. 그래. 누가 우리 얘네 신경 쓰이게. 그래. 안돼. 한 있다. 그래. 누가 우리 얘네 신경 쓰이게. 그래. 안돼. 한 그래.
So he said there, 당신. How do I? Hold on. I don't think it makes a very big difference if I spell it or not. But 당신 is a way of saying you, but it's interesting. It's an interesting word to me, since I don't use it ever. But it's a very formal use of you, in that you say to someone you don't really know, but it's also got I'm trying to make sure it's true, but it's also kind of used in a slightly like negative way. So in Korean, no is incredibly informal, and you would not use it to someone you don't know. Ever. You shouldn't. 니가 or 니꺼, something like that. You wouldn't use that. So what do you use instead? If it's not 당신, which is the formal version of you, or more formal version of you, you would say their name or some kind of, you would say ein. If it says, yeah, it's, but it's so formal that you're almost like saying you're not close with them, right? So if you're saying, for example, two people that are related for fun, scenario here, two people are supposed to be really close. One of them says 당신 to you, to the other. It's obviously a joke, first of all, but it's like saying, like, who are you? You, like, it's a weird. I can't even explain it because there's nothing that compares to it in English. And let me rewind and say, 당신 is also used romantically between a husband and wife. It's in the older generation, I feel like, but you will hear the older married couple refer to each other as 당신, if that's the way they decided to address each other. So it's an interesting language, right? I think in Japanese, for those that are more familiar with Japanese, it's similar with anata, or anata is the formal way of saying you. And I don't really, since I'm not Japanese, I don't know the context enough, but it's a very formal way of saying you, right? You would also not say omae or something like that. Omae is very informal, very rude, potentially, like no, kinda, in Korean. Yeah, but you will hear seldomly couples refer to each other as anata. I think I primarily have heard the females refer to their husband that way in Japanese culture, but I'm not. My exposure to Japanese culture is so narrow, I can't really say for sure. But I've definitely heard in Korean, the male or female in the traditional Korean family say that 당신. And like I said, you also use it very formally to speak to someone as if they're not someone you're close to them. So and here's an example. My cousins visited a long time ago to my house. Not my house, my parents' house, and I lived there. And we were all having fun. My Korean wasn't very good, and this puzzled me when I first heard it, but then I eventually came around to it. But my cousin, who is 2 years younger than me, and another cousin that was like his age gap between us is pretty large. He must have been 15 years older than me, around so. So they have a 17-year age gap. So they were joking around and having stuff, and then my younger cousin referred to the older cousin as 당신이, right? And the older cousin's like, "Excuse me, what?" And I was like, "Why would that be considered rude?" Because I've heard 당신 used as like a term of endearment, to between couples or couples or married couples specifically. And then I was like, oh, but you also use it when you're like in some formal speak. He should be referring to his older cousin as Hyung, right? At the very least, Hyung being older brother. but he was using 당신, which is like a jump beyond. It neglects the relationship they have, and they became someone. There's almost like you're putting someone at equal footing because you don't know them very well. I feel like I now this is where the lack of exposure to Korean culture in Korea starts to really bog down my ability to explain something. So I will stop there. This video is long. So this I thought this was funny. He said 당신 here.
귀여워. 귀여워. 감사합니다. 귀여워.
Changmin's got such a funny face.
I know we all
Okay. Anyways, I went on a few tangents and I apologize for that. Made the video unnecessarily long. I think I stand behind what I said in that Ian seems very adorable. To his group mates, and I kind of admire and am kind of jealous of the camaraderie I feel they have and the relationship they have with Ian, between each other and Ian, in the sense that it's nostalgic, and I remember really feeling the warmth of my hyungs, my older brothers that I don't have, between friends, right? I really wish I was able to, I had the maturity to keep in contact with a few of them, to be honest. But I didn't. And it was also an age where we didn't have cell phones yet. It was less common to have cell phones at the time I'm talking about. And it was, every once in a while, I'll kind of reminisce on specifically high school, in the really kind, warm-hearted treatment I got from those 선배s, or at least the people that were older than me. And I really wish I could at least thank them for how well they treated me, at the very least. But wish I could meet them again and just chat and see how they're doing. I'm genuinely curious. I know one of them was kind of troubled. He was kind of a delinquent, but he was really nice to me. He instantly, like, just kind of took me under his wing for a little bit. He dropped out of high school, so I didn't get to see him much. And he had a very he and his girlfriend, also Korean, very pretty. She treated me really well as soon as she noticed that he was treating me really well. So it was very, very, just really heartwarming, right? Just like, they were obviously, like, I think they were like 3 years older than me, at least. And he always had a smile for me, even though he was a delinquent, even though he was rough around the edges. He kind of had like a negative connotation to him. Whenever he saw me, he was always smiles. He was very warm, always sharing his thoughts, even if we're, if the interactions were brief, always so kind. There was another guy that was not such a delinquent, much nicer guy in general. Also looked after me very well whenever we had PE together once, and I mean, for like for a semester we had PE together, and he was very, very, very nice to me. Always enjoyed hanging out with me and playing sports with me, and it's just like these little interactions that made me really understand. If without them, I may have not known how to really treat, at least within a Korean context, how to treat younger hubes, or yeah, hubes, I guess, would be the best place to put that for now, or people that are under of younger age than me. It's so I kind of kuriwo. I kind of yearn that feeling again, of that feeling I had back then. Anyways, And then when I think about giving that emotion to the maknaes of my groups that I had for in various times, I for sure know that if that treatment to them came out because I adored them. It's not because of culture. It's because I genuinely adored them. They were very cute to me. They were fun to me. Their interactions with me were always fun. They knew that they're not supposed to. If I give the jabs, they take the jabs, and but if I give the adoration, they take the adoration. That's what it was, and I really enjoy that about Korean culture. So, anyways, Ian, this didn't really provide much in terms of his personality, let's say, but more rather showed me a glimpse of the camaraderie that I see within Stray Kids and the bond between them, at least between Jeongin or Ian, and the rest of the group. You could definitely tell Bangchan and Changbin have a very Hyung-esque adoration to him. Dino is less hands-feely, at least from the clips I've saw here, but he was very interactive with them and gives them at least verbal adoration. Han and Felix and Hyunjin kind of are more like the touchy-feely type of Hyung treatment to Tongsing treatment to Ian here. But they all, and Sungmin obviously didn't have. There were really two clips of Sungmin here. I think the one where he brought coffee, and the other one was he kept touching Ian's butt. But I'm pretty sure they all adore Ian, and I'm very glad to see it. And again, Fred, Earth, thank you so much for recommending these. I have finished your series. Now I'm looking for the next series. Of course, I still need to. I promise I'll react to the forgot the user's name, but the guide with the T, the person that made TEAT. I also saw requests for their latest, like, it's not really an album, is it? But some kind of album where there's songs from each member. I may just do like some kind of listening for songs that don't have multiple performances or such and such. It might be easier for me to react to them multiple songs in a video, since I like kind of having my long format. Or I might just do shorter one song videos, but I'll get to those as well. I kind of lost track of what MVs I have left of Stray Kids, if any. I think I do have some left, and I don't remember which. I didn't really do a good job of keeping track of what songs have MVs and what songs with title tracks for MVs. So you might have to help me out. That'd be great. Always keep the recommendations coming. I know there's a few others, like Neverending Story, that I've not been responding to just because it's like, I'll get to it, but there's so many Stray Kids stuff. I want to get to it. I'll get to it eventually. But anyways, I really enjoyed this series of non-musical content from Stray Kids. If you guys have more you want to see from me, or if there's other potentially clips of that you would like more context behind, put them down in the comment section. I could definitely try and explain. Just keep in mind that my exposure to Korean culture is kind of different in that I've lived in the States for most of my life. I've had exposure to Korean culture thanks to my family, media, and the little bits and pieces of French I had that were Korean, and also my visits to Korea throughout the years. But it's by no means a full. I can never say I am a fully culturally fully immersed in Korean culture. That was a weird sentence I could not formulate. In that, my experience is very probably I never lived in the culture, right, of Korea. In Korea, I should say. Also, although living with Korean parents and Korean relatives and Korean grandparents and everything is probably a good significant amount of it. So I'm like 80% to 90% confident that I could share with you accuracy with my Korean culture. But there will be the 10%, the 15-20% where I might be unsure, and I apologize if I cannot fulfill those, but I'll try my best. So recommend things where you're curious about, more context behind would help you out. That'd be fun. I'm always interested. More videos like this, like Katya seems to do, are fun. I will be reacting to more of those, I'm pretty sure, amongst others. And yeah, I'll be fitting that this is the last video from the 8-video series I'm doing here. This time around is the longest one, I believe. Is I don't think the others lasted this long. Hope you guys understand. I tend to go on these tangents here and there, and I like having to be able to talk to you and just share me, my thoughts, the culture behind myself and the Korean culture, the context behind why I'm laughing or why I find something fun. But anyways, with that said, comment down below what you want to see from me next. What you want to see from me next. Is that how you construct that sentence? It's really late. I gotta get going. So with that said, if you're still here, many hearts to you. Always appreciate your time and patience with me. Looking forward to reacting to more stuff, so let me know. With that said, please leave a like if you haven't. Like the video, helps the algorithms out. Subscribe if you haven't already, so you can know when the next video comes out for myself, and also really helps me understand you guys enjoy the content and keeps me motivated to make the next one. So always appreciate the subscriptions. And finally, have a good day, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, whatever time it is. Be safe, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time. Bye.